Hello and welcome, everyone. So excited to see people joining from near and far. I'd just like to get started with some housekeeping as we roll just for a few more minutes and allow people to join us and get settled. So welcome again to the 2025 Artifact Competition Info Session. We're delighted that you're here. And I'm Tony Guglielmo, Director of Artefect, and I just want to let you know that everyone is muted upon entry. If you're not muted, go ahead and mute yourself, and that will help us control some background noise. Please go ahead and post a greeting in the chat. Let us know where you're joining from. We'd like to know your name and where you are this evening. Also, I just want to let you know that the closed caption has been turned on and that this meeting is being recorded. So I'd like to begin our program by introducing myself and the team. And I'd like to just let you know that we are in Santa Monica, California at the Low Milk and Family Foundation. We are safe from the fires, so thank you for asking. Our team is in an area that is just close to the fire, but we're safe and watching and delighted to be able to deliver this program this evening. And I know we also have some colleagues that are joining from Southern California and the Los Angeles area, so I'm happy to see you here and thank you for everyone sending us all of the good wishes during this time. And I'm joined this evening by my teammates on Artefect. And I'd like to introduce them and have them say a quick greeting to everyone here. So Emmy Mata and Connor Walden are program coordinators. So let's hear a quick greeting from Emmy and Connor.
Hi everyone, my name's Emmy. I am also based in Los Angeles as a program coordinator here with Artefect. Thank you all so much for taking the time to be here tonight. We're so excited to share this session with you.
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Connor. I'm, like Emmy, a program coordinator here on Team Artefect. And like Tony said, we're all safe here in Los Angeles area. But we're so excited to share the Artefect competition with y'all. Thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you, Connor and Emmy. And also on our team is the founder of Artefect and the Lowell Milken Center for Unsung Heroes, Mr. Lowell Milken, whose vision for strengthening communities through education and innovation, and whose passion for the visual arts has made this program possible. So I would like to get to also greet, actually I see a lot of ambassadors that are joining us. So I want to welcome our ambassadors that are joining. The Ambassadors Program is now in its second year. It's an online visual arts fellowship. We have 34 ambassadors this year from across 21 states who are engaging with Artefect in their classrooms and communities throughout the school year. And we would also like to get a sense of the larger group. So Connor is going to pull up a quick poll, and we're going to ask you just to take a minute to answer these two quick questions. What is your role? And you can select one of these. And then the second question is whether you are new or returning to Artefect. All right, looks like we've got most of everyone answered. Just a few more people. Okay, great. Well, let's go ahead and end the poll and share the results. Thank you for doing this. Okay, it looks like we have excellent with 60% classroom teachers, some teaching artists. As our majority this evening, we are excited to have some students in the group with us. And by and large, oh good, 75% of you are new to Artefect and 25% returning. Excellent. Okay, well, thank you. It's good to see who is in the room with us. So we are just delighted to be able to share about the Artefect competition with you this evening for all of those of you who are new and returning. And we're just going to give you a sense of what the program is about. So we're going to spend a little bit of time at the beginning of our session with an overview. Delighted that we have some previously participating teachers and students who will be sharing about their experience with Artifact in the second segment. We're going to share some resources with you this evening and then have some time for Q&A at the end of our session. As we move along, I know that everyone has been muted for our sound, but please, I invite you to open your chat. We are going to be sharing links throughout the evening in over the next hour in the chat. It's also a place for you to ask questions, and we will be periodically monitoring your questions there. Would like to let everyone know that you're going to receive this deck with all of the hyperlinks, as well as the session recording as a follow-up tomorrow. So just if you don't catch anything, don't worry, we'll send you all of the resources as a follow-up. So let's begin with an overview of Arteffact. Arteffact is a growing initiative, and it is an art education initiative that invites educators and their students to focus on telling, creatively interpreting and sharing the stories of unsung heroes from history through the visual arts. Right now, Arteffact has 3 offerings: the annual competition, which we're going to review tonight, professional development, which includes our ambassadors program that I was just mentioning, as well as online sessions for educators, and exhibitions online, and we're working on some actual on-site exhibitions as well. So we're gonna share some information about this. And Artefact's focus is on exploring unsung heroes from history as role models. So unsung heroes are individuals who are not commonly known, but who have demonstrated altruistic qualities in service to others in society. And so these are qualities such as courage, compassion, sacrifice, perseverance, and their actions have positively impacted the course of history and have had a profound difference, have made a profound difference in the lives of others. So all of Arteffact is focused on really this core of unsung heroes stories. And in the next slide, I want to just go a little bit deeper into some of the character traits and actions that are recurring in the materials that you'll see that we're sharing with you. So you can see that there's some heroic traits, as I was just mentioning, courage, generosity, humility, perseverance, as well as heroic actions, building bridges, making a difference, standing up for what is right. So these are themes that work throughout the content. It's also the themes that students kind of focus on as they're creating their Artifact projects. And so you'll see that as they look to the unsung heroes as role models, inspiring role models. And I want to mention that this guiding vision that I've put up here, one person has the power to make a positive and profound difference in the lives of others. That's a guiding vision from our founder, Mr. Lawlor, and it really speaks to the power of the unsung heroes who took heroic actions, who embodied these traits to make a difference that really changed the course of history. And as we look at the students creating artworks about these heroes through their art projects, they also are emboldened to realize that their art making has the power to make a difference, and the power of the visual arts and the power of their art and sharing these stories, and has an impact on others. So it's a very large community that is being inspired through this ripple effect of discovering and exploring and creatively interpreting these stories. So let's go to the next slide and we can get a sense of the unsung heroes. There are over 135 individuals on the list that Arteffact works with. It's an expanding list that spans from ancient to modern times, and it includes individuals across disciplines, including STEAM, civil rights, social justice, wartime heroes, and Holocaust unsung heroes. And as I'm speaking, you'll notice that Emmy is posting some links in the chat. So these are where you could go a little bit deeper. We've just put out a new directory of these unsung heroes that includes some bio about them, as well as a photo and some reference materials. So that is being posted, and you can explore this list. ARTEFFECT students will choose an individual from this list for their ARTEFFECT project. And where did these unsung heroes come from? Where do we craft this list? So these untold stories are brought to light through an annual Discovery Award competition that is run through the Lowell Milken Center for Unsung Heroes. And in that project, students and educators work together to research and develop these stories. And in ARTEFFECT, these stories are creatively interpreted through the visual arts. So the focus with ARTEFFECT is more on visually interpreting these stories rather than discovering the stories, although students do some research for their artworks. So I'd like to briefly show you some examples of student-driven projects and how students have creatively interpreted these stories into the visual arts. So I've just got a few slides to show you, but in this next segment, we can take a look at some of these. So this is a story of Renna Moore-Edwards, who was a Polish social worker during World War II. She saved 2,500 children from the Warsaw Ghetto, and her story was actually brought to light by the staff when they were working at the the staff from the Lowell Milken Center when they were, well, she's actually the matron of sort of the Lowell Milken Center. It's a different story, but her story was instrumental in forming the Lowell Milken Center for Unsung Heroes. And so she was saving the children, wrote their names, very abridged here. Sorry, I'm very abridged for the purpose of time, but wrote the names of the children that she saved in slips of paper in a glass jars that she's buried under an apple tree. So that's why we're seeing that image there. And in the next slide, you can see how the students have that chose her as an unsung hero have interpreted the story in two different ways. One is a student here on the, I guess on your left, Irena's Jars of Hope, who created an artwork that focuses on the jars under an apple tree and the jars illuminated. And on the right, a student, Will You Swim, who created a digital work of art showing Irena saving a child in the story of Will You Swim, because Irena's father told her, will you swim? If you see people drowning, you should jump in and save them. So she actually turned a visual text into the inspiration for her artwork. So go a little bit quickly on these next examples. I wanted to show you Anna Smith Strong, who was working with George Washington's copper spy ring from the American Revolution. And then in the next slide, you can see the student crafted this story into a large quilt where we see Anna Smith Strong. She would give the codes to the other members in the spy ring through the laundry. And so this student created a quilt with textiles, and we see the laundry waving in the wind and the colors of the American Revolution. And in the next slide, we have Sylvia Mendez, who is a civil rights activist who played a pivotal role in American school desegregation here in California. That set the way for the National Brown versus Board of Education case in 1954. And Sylvia Mendez, in the next image, has been celebrated through the students' artwork here with books to emphasize the power of education, with the portrait in this beautiful artwork that just shows the solidarity of equal access to quality education. And I think that's it for some of these examples. So I know we're all here gathered to hear about the student art competition, and just give you a quick overview of that as well. So there are the competition began in 2016, and there are over 3,000 students who have participated in the competition from around the world since then. The competition is open to students in grades 6 through 12. And they choose an unsung hero from the list. They creatively interpret that into a work of art. The competition accepts submissions in 2D and 3D media, and a variety of media, including digital art. And we are accepting all of the various media, except right now we're not accepting animated movies. And as I mentioned, the students choose the unsung hero and create an original work of art, and they also write an impact statement. So the impact statement is the written part of the project. It's an essay of about 500 to 1,000 words that describes why they chose the unsung hero, the social impact that the unsung hero made, their own creative process and inspiration for creating the work of art, and how they would like to share out the work of art with others, how they envision that their artwork can have an impact on others, and how they might do that. So last year, the competition awarded 19 prizes that totaled over $25,000, and that is unrestricted funds. So we'll take a quicker look at the competition timeline. Oh, the steps to participate. Let's look at this first. So as I mentioned, students, you can guide your students through these steps, but they will choose a hero from the unsung hero list. Go and review the rules and guidelines. So there's specific prompts for the impact statement, for instance, that they can address. And then there are that they create the work of art and the impact statement. And we have a lot of resources to support teachers in lesson plans that we're going to talk about, to how to go through that process of many different ways to encourage and support the students in the development of their artworks, and submit the work of art online using an online portal by April 27th. So the competition's now open through April 27th. And we've got the link there for the main page where you can find all of that information. And I want to talk about the timeline next. So as mentioned, the competition is open through April 27th. Finalists will be announced May 13th, and the winners announced by June 2nd. And hopefully, it's a little bit compressed there at the end, but we want to be able to do notifications to students while they're still in school. So hopefully we have a quick turnaround there, and on the winners will get posted. The finalists and the winners will be posted on our ARTEFFECT website. And this is our digital poster for the year. We invite you to download this, share it with your classroom. Right, so and let's take a closer look at the prizes. So I mentioned that last year, it's just very exciting that we awarded 19 prizes totaling over $25,000, and these are the prize categories. So the grand prize is $6,000. Then there are 2 categories for high school, best in show and second place, and middle school best in show, second place, that you can see there on the top awards in the yellow. This year we have spotlight prizes, which are a category of prizes, $1,000 each. If a student is drawn to an unsung hero in our spotlight heroes that are listed here, we are encouraging students to choose these heroes whose stories have not been widely told through ARTEFFECT. And then we also have another category for 2 categories for media: sculpture, works in 3D, as well as large format, anything that is greater than 24 by 36. So these are spotlight prizes. A student there are going to be multiple spotlight prizes, multiple prizes for the Unsung Hero Spotlight Prize. And there are also other prizes at the judge's discretion, certificates of excellence and honorable mentions. And you can also download this if you would like to share this or post this for your students. And we have the link there. So I think that, it's very exciting. We wanted to show you this quick video because as I mentioned last year, we awarded 19 prizes, and let's take a look at the award notifications.
Thank you so much for participating in Artifact, creating these amazing artworks. I also have some very special news for you, which is that your project has been selected for the Middle School Second Place Award. Congratulations.
Thank you. I really hope it'll inspire people to pursue the things that interest them, even regardless of the discrimination they may face.
Your project, School Trip, to visit Dr. Helen Brooke-Tausig's portrait in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, has been selected for the Middle School Best in Show.
That's no surprise. That's
amazing. Really amazing. Great job.
Congratulations on winning this award, high school second place, for this outstanding artwork.
There's not many Asian representation in history, so I thought I could bring out her story.
So your project, A Woman Ahead of Her Time, has been selected for the High School Best in Show Award.
Oh my God!
Congratulations!
She inspired me, and I never heard of her before, but she truly, being the first Black African American cartoonist, I mean, she was just amazing, truly amazing.
Your project, Visions of Light, about unsung hero Carl Ernst von Baer, has been selected as a 2024 Artifact Grand Prize winner. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. He explored so many different branches of science, and he just wanted to branch out and seek all the knowledge that he could seek during his lifetime.
I'm just delighted to share this news that your project has been selected for the Spotlight Prize.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, congratulations.
Goodness, thank you.
Yay, congratulations. Yay, congratulations.
Congratulations. Wow. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Hey.
We had more entries than ever before. It was very competitive. Your project has been selected for a Certificate of Excellence. Congratulations.
Thank you. And in this next segment, delighted to be able to introduce some of our previously participating teachers and students. And I'd like to begin with Renna Moore-Edwards. I think Renna is on the call. Renna is a visual arts teacher from Ida B. Wells Academic and Performing Arts Complex in Jackson, Mississippi. She was also an Artifact ambassador last year and has been participating in the competition for several years. So Renna, I invite you to please unmute and take it away if you are ready.
I am. Hi, Renna Moore-Edwards. I'm really glad to be here. You can go to the next slide. So I've been participating or had students participating in the Artifact program since 2018. Been really honored to have had a lot of students placed in the national finalists, and then also we had a grand prize winner in 2020. And the middle school winner, Jordyn, who is actually on the call too, last year for the middle school second place. And Tony asked me if I would come in and just do a couple of tips for success, especially if this is your first time submitting. So we can go to the next slide. One real big thing when you're starting out with this is you really want to truly focus on having your students work with the narrative storytelling and symbolism in the artwork. Now, not every single person has a lot of online references or pictures you can use. So it's real smart for them to kind of take what they do have and try to make it their own and either use things that can be symbolic to represent what their story was in their artwork, or even bring themselves into the artwork by how that unsung hero affects their own life. I'll go to the next slide. Another one is just really opening up what type of materials and media to use. Really love getting to use a lot of mixed media with this project, and I'm really excited that they're this year focusing on like larger scale projects and 3D. That gives a really great opportunity to think outside the box with this. Yes, you can get some lovely drawings and paintings, but it's really fun when you see like how the kids can actually bring in the synthesis of their materials into the actual project and use things in their materials that actually relate back to their unsung hero story. When your students are doing their research and trying to pick their unsung hero, it really helps if they have a personal connection to them and like have a way to show that not only in the artwork and in the impact statement. That impact statement is really, really important in their, especially in the rubric, but you want them to have like an actual connection to it, not just like, okay, well, this person was the first person on the list, let me just do this one. If they can find a way that really shows how that person affected them, you're going to get a lot stronger artwork. And finally, it's really, really important that you make sure your students find a way to present their artwork. We use our elementary classrooms that are connected to our school. We have all of our students go out and present their Unsung Heroes project to the different elementary classes so they can answer questions and have like a way to kind of share it, not just hanging up their artwork. We also have our students present online. That was very, very helpful, of course, during 2020, 2021, when we were still virtual learning, but we continue to be able to have online recordings so that students can present what they have found about their unsung hero and about their artwork. And of course, if you have the opportunity to get your student artwork displayed in some kind of community or school-wide art show, that's another really great way that they can share their artwork with their community and kind of be able to let people know and learn more about the unsung heroes and their stories and how it affects their lives. And last thing, and probably one of the most important things, document everything. If you have to be the one taking the pictures, that's fine, but try to tell your students, take pictures of different stages of their work as they present to people, and just keep all that together. You do have the opportunity to upload images besides just the artwork when you're submitting for the competition. So I usually tell my students to take pictures when they're researching, designing and conceptualizing the composition, and then, you know, of course, how they choose to present their unsung hero. And I will say this is probably one of my favorite groups and competitions to work with, just because there is so much that the students are having to actually research and learn about. I mean, it's most students, I mean, most our teachers have students that can create artwork that is just beautiful artwork. This one usually has a stronger meaning behind it because they have had to connect it back to an unsung hero. And that is the end of my presentation.
For taking us through. This is just a really wonderful overview of the steps, and I just thank you. It's wonderful to see you and really appreciate how you have guided us through with a strong focus in your classroom on creating narrative works of art, the comprehensive approach for having the students present their work of art, and then you supporting them and documenting that through the online exhibitions, through in-classroom exhibitions. So really appreciate these tips for success, and also congratulations. I know you've had several students that have won, so really delighted to see you this evening and appreciate you sharing out. And actually, one of your students is here this evening, so we're also just very excited to hear from Jordyn. Jordyn Sledge won for this artwork, Heartstrings Unraveled, which won middle school second place in the 2024 competition. And Jordyn, we would love to hear about your experience creating this artwork, what motivated you. So welcome, and please go ahead and unmute yourself. If you are there and ready to go.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
I would say my experience with the Artifact competition was truly amazing. It was so fun being able to research somebody who doesn't really get a lot of attention when it comes to historical context. And just being able to create something that represents that person is truly an experience I think more people should get to experience.
Jordyn, thank you so much. I know you have so much to share. This work of art is just so magnificent. Tell us what we're looking at.
Okay, so my unsung hero was Dr. Vivian Thomas. He was a surgeon who is extremely famous for, well, not really famous, but the thing he is most known for is a procedure that helps with infants that are born with heart defects. And the procedure, it saved the lives of thousands of infants. And for that, I really wanted to represent him. This piece, it's mixed media. It has oil pastel, as well as wood burning, embroidery, and acrylic paint and gold leaf. And the reason I chose to use so many different forms of media is to kind of represent how, throughout his whole life, his impact kind of stretched beyond just like one period of time. You have the wood burning that represents him in his youth, and then the oil pastel that represents him in his older age. And it all sort of connects to his life's work. And I think that's really amazing.
Yes, Jordyn, this is just such a deeply layered work of art in terms of the meaning. Your teacher, Renna, was sharing with us about symbolism. And I wonder if you could just explain a little bit about the symbolism of the heartstrings unraveled.
One of the biggest pieces of symbolism in this piece is the rays that are emanating from the heart. I think that's a really important piece to use because throughout his story, one of his coworkers had told him that his stitches were almost heavenly, something that the Lord had made. And I wanted to represent that by putting a halo around it to kind of emphasize that. And then as well, we have the strings that connect to the heart, that connect from the heart to him. And that represents sort of how his life's work, the heart, connects to him as a person.
This is so wonderful. It's such a wonderful double portrait with the heart in the center and the rays of light shining. And I want to ask you one final question. Can you tell us what your experience participating in Artifact was like? Has it changed your perception of the world or your worldview or the visual arts or your trajectory in any way?
I would say it has allowed me, well, mainly researching Dr. Vivian Thomas has allowed me to see the kinds of things I can achieve regardless of challenges and discrimination I may face in my life. And I also connect to him very much because he was an African-American doctor, and most of my family is African-American people in the medical field. My mom is a doctor and my sister is studying to be a physical therapist. So his story, it kind of connects to me really closely. And also being able to portray his story, that allowed me to see more of what art can do. Instead of just, being something that looks beautiful, it can be something that looks beautiful and tells a beautiful story. And I just absolutely love that.
Thank you so much, Jordyn. You're so articulate and so talented, and we are so delighted that you are here this evening to share about this process. Congratulations again on this artwork and for sharing this story with the world in this just beautiful, poetic, and deeply layered way through your artwork and your impact statement.
Thank you so much. It was an honor being able to participate.
All right, well, we're gonna hopefully hear from one more student right now. I'm not sure if Caitlin is ready and able to connect. I know we were just helping support some tech. Caitlin, are you able to communicate here with the technology? If so, go ahead and unmute yourself, or we can help you unmute. If not, I said Emmy can support Caitlin, and we'll just move on and then come right back to you and see if we can get that going. So next, we'll skip over Caitlin for a moment. And we have Rosemary Dodson, who is joining us. Rosemary is joining us from Savannah Arts Academy in Savannah, Georgia, and is also an ambassador this year. So hello, Rosie, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on tonight. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about like my process in the class. So if you want to go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay, so I'm doing this with my Drawing 3 students, which are all seniors. And I use a lot of the resources that the Lowell Milken Center has already developed throughout my course of my unit. So I actually start with the scanning describing activity, and I really focus it also on the narrative. And that's something I'm really pushing my kids to try to incorporate into their compositions as narrative, and not just have it be a portrait, and really try to tell a story through it. I give the students background in each artwork after we kind of have a visual thinking strategy session with it. So we do like a VTS thing. I have kind of pointed questions that I lead them towards as we look through all the different artworks. Then I give them the backstory before we move on to the next piece. And then I introduce them to the Unsung Heroes, the concept, and show them around the site. And then I give them some time to look through the site and read about different people. And then they develop a top 3 choices of their unsung hero, like presentation. And then we get back into class, and then they present, like, so I give them like a, we're an A/B schedule. So they have a couple days to work that all out. And then they come in and they have to have 3 interesting facts about their person, and at least 1 image or multiple images. And they do that for each person, and they present them to each other, because the goal is nobody can have the same person. So they have their top 1, 2, 3. And if somebody else has a top one, then they paper, rock, scissors for it. And then they have to kind of move down the list. So it becomes kind of a game if we have a lot of overlap. This year we didn't have overlap, but last year we had a little bit. So they kind of duke it out for who they get. But I've noticed, I make them do that because I really also want them to connect with who they are picking. So they're not just randomly picking someone off of the list they've read through, and they're really finding someone that they're connecting with, that they want to research and create a piece of artwork about. After they select their hero, and then they can move on to the Unsung Heroes Journey worksheet, which is also available online for you. And they fill that out, and that gives them a little bit more focus on what they want to depict in their scenes. So what is the heroic trait? What is so important about their narrative that they want to show that in the composition? After that, they work on thumbnail sketches, they do additional research, and then they have one-on-one meetings with me for approval for their projects. I also allow any material, any size, any mixed media. There's really like nothing that I don't agree to in regards to how they decide they want to create their artwork. During the project, we have in-peer process critiques, and then at the end, we have a written and verbal critique. And then I have them at the end do their impact statement, because they've compiled their research and they're finished with their project, and I feel like they have the best scope of what they've completed and what they've learned to do the impact statement at that point. And I do give them the guidelines from the site as well. And then after that, they submit their project and their impact statement to me, and I look over it and make sure it makes sense. Everything's done, and then they go ahead and load it into the website for the contest. All right, if you go ahead and flip to the next one. Somebody in the chat just asked if it has to be a portrait. No, it should be it doesn't have to be. It can be a narrative. These are 2 students I had last year that received certificates of excellence. Kelly's piece is a little bit more portraiture of Eugenia Clark, but Moab's piece is you know, it has the main character's back is to the audience. So it's not really a portrait. It's more about the work that he completed. So it doesn't really need to be a portrait of the person. And I think that's my last slide.
Yes, thank you so much, Rosemary. So I just want to unpack, if we can go back one slide, Connor, because you've put together this amazing step-by-step of what you do with your students. And just so everyone knows, well, thank you for graciously sharing your process here. And just so everyone knows, you have connected to some worksheets that are resources, and we're going to send you this PDF, so don't worry about the getting these links. You'll have all of these links, but really appreciate how you go through this process of breaking down the selection of the unsung heroes. Well, just the kind of warm up with the scanning and describing the power of an artwork, what you see, and like this, you know, helping to focus the students, but also that step number 3 where you're sorting, because we've heard, like, you know, maybe the list can be overwhelming in the 140 individuals, and how you can help students work through that to a selection. And I think it's interesting that you only have one student, each student gets to do a different unsung hero. And also how you have outlined here the Unsung Heroes Journeys worksheet. So that is really like, what part of the story do we want to tell, whether it's, you know, the challenge, the sacrifice, the impact. And so that kind of addresses the question that you were also hoping to unpack a little bit. We see a lot of students sometimes do a portrait with some narrative elements around it. But in these examples, you know, we're seeing a little deeper dive where we're coming into the story at different parts of, or just the character that came across in both of the artworks that that you sponsored last year, that one. So really appreciate all of this. We have impact statement guidelines. And if we take a look back at your 2 artworks from your students, Emmy is putting the link there. These are really beautiful, sophisticated works of art. So really appreciate your work supporting these students.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's see if we have next up, we're going to be talking to James Lawlor from Jericho, New York. And I did see James on the call, so let's see if he is available.
I am.
James. Excellent. Hello, James. So nice to see you. Thank you for joining from Jericho Middle School, Jericho, New York. And James is previously participating in the competition as well. He is also an Artifact ambassador this year, and is not a visual arts educator, but a social studies teacher, and is going to talk about his experience, especially coming from the arts integration aspect.
Right. Thank you so much. I'm still reeling from Jordyn. She was so impressive. I have to say that, so talented and so articulate. So tough act to follow, guys. I'll try to be concise. So as you said, I am a social studies teacher, and I appreciate art. I love art. I have trouble drawing a stick figure. But this is such a great competition. It's such a great opportunity for students to learn and to be able to express themselves through art. As you mentioned, I worked with a student last year, Chu Heng Liu, who was an 8th grade student, and she created this portrait on Helen Brooke Tausig, who had actually, you know, again, right to the unsung hero. I learned, you know, from Chu Heng and from the list, from the unsung hero list. She was a pediatric cardiologist who invented a way of performing surgery to save babies that were suffering from blue baby syndrome. And her vision here in this, I just think it was such a great idea. Her vision was that one day in the future, Helen Brooke Tausig would not be an unsung hero. Instead, she would be you know, featured at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and she would have her own section, and students are taking a trip there. And so I thought that was such an amazing idea. And just as from a teacher standpoint, how I worked with her, if you can click a little bit here, if you just click one slide, thanks. I don't have much. I want to stress some of the things that that Jordyn and Renna and actually all of you had said. Really take time to examine the list. There's such the list is a lot of people, sorry, my kids are, sorry, there's a lot of names on the list, and it's important not to just choose one random, to really take the time to find something or someone that connects with the student, that resonates. And then from there, take the time to research first. You know, as a social studies teacher, this is how we did. We did the research first. And so if you click, I'll just show you a few slides that Chu-Heng did in the early going as part of the, she was finding out what blue baby syndrome was. She was reading old news articles from New York Times. She was reading medical journals, which, you know, very impressive. If we just click, you know, again, this is just to kind of give an overview. There was a timeline too, which I thought was a great idea, because again, just learning about the unsung hero, digging through New York Times, digging through medical journals, digging through these different resources. And one last slide, actually, too. And here getting quotes and seeing connection, because I think the research not only gives you or gives the student a deeper understanding, but a deeper connection. I think there's a pathway for that narrative storytelling too. So again, being unsung, there's not millions and millions of resources. There's, you know, there's some, and it takes some digging. And with this, you know, she was able to incorporate some of the quotes, or one of the quotes at least, in her painting that moved her the most. And I do think, you know, that research piece from a social studies standpoint, from understanding this impact, the courage and the perseverance, and these hero traits that that are stressed in this competition and in Unsung Heroes, it really does shine through. And once the students are able to see that and make connections, they're able to produce. Now, I'm able to support that side. The art side, it was more of conversations. I would conference with Chu-Heng throughout the process, and you know, she has all of her, you know, she had all of her supplies at home, so she would come in every few days with you know, some pictures that she took and said, here's what we're working on, and here are the ideas, here's the inspiration, and we would talk about it. You know, she was really a pleasure and to work with, and was able to teach me a little bit about art techniques. So it was thrilled. So, and it was just nice to work with students at that, you know, in that capacity too. So that would be my advice, would be take the time to research, take the time to choose, to learn, and then that story will come out. It will shine through that research. And I mentioned just the impact. That also helped write the impact statement. And the submission, there's a lot of questions too about the connections too. So that would be my piece. So hopefully that's helpful.
Great. Thank you so much, James, for sharing, and so much in what you just shared in terms of Chu-Heng's piece, which was imagining a scene in the future, which of course is, you know, breaking out of the narrative from history and going to the future. Your ability to help her with the research, with the impact statement, and then working to support the visual arts and bringing in those resources. So really appreciate giving us this overview. And I think we have time. I'd just like to call out Cheryl Lunger, who is on the call and joining us. And Cheryl, we are delighted to hear from you. If you would share a little bit, we pulled two artworks. Cheryl is joining us from Jacksonville, Florida, recently retired from La Villa School of the Arts, and has been also a longtime participating teacher in ARTEFFECT with several award winners. So welcome, Cheryl.
Hi, Tony and Emmy, and thank you for your good wishes. I got my camera off and probably should have done it. I've been recovering from a total knee replacement. It's been quite a thing. So I'm looking at myself going, oh boy. Whew. Anyway, you guys who are out there, I've seen some really good works from you all. And honestly, I think a lot of you really are doing very much what I did when I was teaching this. And this year I'm working with my colleagues who are, you know, doing the contest with the kids that are there now. But basically I did the same kind of 3 choices kind of thing, and nobody does the same hero. And part of that was because when you're in a classroom setting or any setting where you are looking at something that you know, someone else is doing the same person you're doing, it is really hard not to plagiarize. I mean, when you think about it, George Harrison accidentally plagiarized, okay? If it can happen to him, it can happen to any kid. And then throw in the piece where some kids would rather plagiarize because they, you know, it's easier. So keeping that separation where they're not able to really steal each other's ideas, I would just kind of say, if you haven't been doing that, it's a good thing to probably implement, because again, it helps the kid. Some kids accidentally cheat, you know, they don't really go in it thinking, I'm going to cheat on this. They just get laid in something. Someone else's idea seems better than theirs. They take it, they run with it. And I don't think that's just children. But in any case, the other kinds of things that I really tried to get them to do was do what a lot of you have said, affiliate, you know, like find somebody who they understood. And I think that's why they had to get rid of the dog and the pigeon, to tell you the truth, because everybody affiliates with animals. Everybody loves themselves some animals, right? So they all affiliated with them. And then that meant they were overrepresented. But there's people in that list that is somebody who affiliates with their family. This one that is up right now that Tony pulled up, this particular kid, her family was from Bulgaria, but she had family members in Ukraine. And so she actually had family members who went through this famine and understood it from a familiar way. And she was a very good thinker, and she used Russian propaganda posters to reference for this piece. That's where the design came from. And, you know, that's another thing, to pull in that art history and pull in that political history and all those other kinds of things. That helps them kind of get a hold of something. I think the most challenging part, and I use thumbnails, and when you look at those things and you see that the kid is looking for you to give them an idea instead of them giving you an idea that you can help them with, that is also a huge, huge struggle for kids and for people. And it's a real easy way to slide accidentally into helping them too much. And so I think, you know, this contest is so rewarding, both for teachers, and I'm not talking about, thank you guys for the little gift cards and stuff. I'm not talking about that though. I'm talking about the pride I always felt in every student that found their pathway to being successful with this contest. I always felt that because it's so individualized and it's so unique, I always felt as a teacher, I had done my job well to be able to be competitive in this piece. And even the kids that didn't win it, a lot of the work was strong enough work that it went off to Scholastic the next year and won in that. I hate to say
You
it.
know, Cheryl, that's a good point, and I just want to I want to jump in there because I think one of the things that you and I have chatted about is that completing the submission in itself is an accomplishment, whether the students win a prize or award or not, that you really are rigorous in having them go through the process of meeting a deadline, of writing an impact statement, of going through all the guidelines as though they are producing as a professional artist for a client in the real world, and possibly, you know, getting the recognition and the award for that or not, but that they are treating this as a product and a deliverable as a professional. And I think that is also a really important point. I think I want to hear more from everyone here, but for the sake of time, I just want to keep us moving. So thank you so much, Cheryl, for joining.
Tony, can I ask you
yes.
guys one question though, that I hope is for the benefit of everyone? the competition rules of submissions. When I just read over what you guys posted, the large format
Yes.
and the 3D submissions. So am I understanding this correctly, that those two categories are sort of subcategories that are adjudicated as a subcategory, like this, what you call the spotlight, but they also are judged against the other pieces? Is that how that, so they're not three separate contests, they're three, the submission is within, those two can be recognized within the context of the other piece. Is that correct?
Yes, that's exactly correct, Cheryl, with one caveat that only an artwork can only win one prize, however,
Right.
so it can't win like a double prize of a grand prize plus a large format. But the spotlight prizes would be considered for all the categories, as you know, if they're outstanding. So it doesn't limit the student from winning a grand prize or best in show, but it provides another opportunity or an incentive to possibly work with those heroes or that medium.
Okay,
So-
I'm getting together with my people and I need to be clear on that. Thank you.
Oh, okay, great. Yes, thank you. So nice to see you. So we have a few minutes and I just want to share out our resources that are available to you. So if we can take a look at those quickly now. I just want to point out too that we are working on exhibitions, the student award-winning artwork exhibitions online. We also have our Fort Scott Lowell Milken Center, and coming up in this summer, an artifact exhibit at the Milken Center for Advancing the American Dream in Washington, D.C. So next slide. We have professional development, which I mentioned at the beginning, and I want to invite everyone here to please mark January 22nd, next Wednesday, for an Unsung Heroes in STEAM. And also coming up in February, Art Making and Design for Social Impact. So those are modules that you can join for free. There are lesson plans available to you, also free for any of these sessions. And these are a turnkey with a lot of resources that you can sort through and package on your own. So those are available if you follow that link. And you're all invited to the upcoming 2 sessions. And on the next slide, we can take a look at some additional resources. There is a Unsung Heroes basic lesson plan for the competition, which is available. We've just put out a new educator resource guide, which kind of is a starter pack with, where do I start? And it has also everything in one package. And so really excited to put that out. And there's a video about Artifact that you can use as a resource for teaching and learning in your classroom that is linked here. And on our next slide, I just want to, I know Emmy has posted this, want to thank everyone. We're so excited to see what comes into the competition this year from your classrooms, from your communities, from your students. Please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you so much for joining. I know it's late. Everyone is joining from around the nation and from around the world. So very excited to see what comes in on April 27th and look forward to answering any questions and supporting you along the way. So thank you, everyone. How about if we do an unmute and we can say a collective goodbye and good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Lots of
you.
information.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Cheryl.
much. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye,
James.
everybody.
Good luck for everybody.
Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you, Jordyn.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.